Hello everyone, Zeak here again, and in today's discussion we will be talking about the Corvette. A quick summary of it is that it's a medium-sized vessel and is very tanky. Armaments are a main cannon that is strong enough to damage a destroyer-class capital ship, and turrets for an anti-small ship role. While it is a medium-sized ship, it falls under the small ship category. This means it is mainly piloted in first person and is actually agile enough to fly around with fighters, though not quite agile enough to be in a dogfight. Also, it is spawned from the small hangar, so anywhere you could spawn a small ship, a interceptor, bomber, or a fighter if it's headed in, you can spawn the Corvette. So first off, we will talk about its tanky nature. Now, whether or not tank means hull points and or armor is currently unknown, but we do know it will be able to take a beating. Now, I am curious, since it's a larger and slower ship than the first two types, as to how long it can stand up to large guns from capital ships. The devs have stated that a pack of Corvettes can take down a destroyer. Could they perhaps take down a cruiser in a pack? Or can the cruiser's larger turrets be able to hit them and take them out? I cannot wait to test this when cruisers are added. That will be something I'm looking forward to. Alright, next for weapons. Let's start with the turrets. Now, how many will these have? Well, in one of the weekly updates, they displayed the newest mock-up of the Corvette. I only seen the top of it, which had 2 turrets, but not the bottom. Let's assume there's either 1 or 2 turrets on the bottom. Obviously, the turrets will be armed with anti-small ship guns, so low damage, high rate of fire, with fast-tracking targeting systems. They are small turrets, so they should be capable of holding any weapon the small ships can use. Perhaps they can even hold a lighter version of its main cannon to further allow it to deal damage to larger ships and stations. Finally, I would like to bring up the topic of point defense, or PD for short. There will be missiles and torpedoes in this game, but will there be any PD? You could say anti-fighter turrets are a form of point defense, but the ability to take down heavy ordnance will be a welcome necessity to the game, as it would allow a different form of balance. Remember the discussion about bombers? Well, if they do indeed deal a huge amount of damage, then PD would allow them to keep it. If your Corvette or destroyer is armed with point defense weapons, it would then give them more types of roles to fill. Let's say an interceptor launches a missile at you, and it's a small one at that. Your guns wouldn't need to do a whole lot of damage. In fact, the less, the better to, theoretically, reduce recoil. It would need a fast tracking and highly accurate targeting system. While it can take down missiles with ease, you would lose the ability to drop small ships as quickly. Granted, with a lot of Corvettes playing this type of fleet escort role, it won't matter if they are close enough together. This would allow for armored ordnance and multi-warhead ordnance, so not a bad idea. Now, for its main cannon, it will need to be large enough to damage larger targets. This opens up opportunities for high-caliber weapons to high-explosive weapons. Perhaps it'll get multiple forward guns instead of a single large one. Also, given its size, it should have a good range in space, but not so much on a planet. Not sure if they're going to have bullet drops on planets or if the rounds just vanish. Either way, rounds on a planet should not have the range as they do in space. Either way, I'm looking forward to what versatility they will get for the main gun. I am curious if the turrets will take up energy for firing the main guns. As it is now, your ship has 4 power settings: balanced, which is default, weapon, repair, and propulsion. Repair will take your excess energy to repair, but you will not regain any energy. Balance seems to be focused more on energy regeneration for now, and I have no idea what the other 2 do as yet. Firing and boosting both consume energy, and when you run out, you do have to wait till it regenerates past a certain threshold to use it again. Next is ordnance. What type of consumable weapon should it get? Or should it just be a special secondary weapon instead? All the smaller ships have ordnance to help them in their roles, but the Corvette's main role is an anti-fighter. Its turrets do that very well. Possibly allow it to drop mines. Or make it a special ability to direct power from engines to weapons, perhaps? Definitely an interesting topic, as everything doesn't need to have missiles and whatnot. Seeing as how its role is supportive in nature, it could have support-like abilities. These don't necessarily have to directly affect other ships, but could possibly buff itself instead. Say, speed to allow it to assist someone farther off. Okay, so after I already completed writing this, I began thinking about one of the items I mentioned for the Interceptor. Rocket pods. I gave it to the Interceptor because at the time I did not consider the Corvette to be similar to a gunship. However, now that I think about it, the Corvette is indeed the closest, if not dead on, to a gunship. So for planetary assault, the Corvette's role could shift to the gunship role, making it quite deadly in atmosphere. Now, the role of the Corvette will indeed be very important, regardless of whether or not it flies with capitals or just small ships, as it shines very well when in a group. I also think it will be quite a popular ship, as the next size up, the Destroyer, plays a relatively similar role, but will cost more. Probably a lot, as players are encouraged to give their credits to others for capital ships. As always, please leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below, and until then, help keep space epic.